Adam, I don't know if this is a Halloween thing.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if this is a post-2020 thing. I don't know if this is I'm getting older and intolerant of other people thing. Maybe a combination of all three. But I've noticed recently, you always like to take jabs at me for not leaving the house.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Every time I do, it just feels like 70% of the people out there are just deranged lunatics. Like the lights are on but nobody's home.
It's always been like that.
Like everyone's just gaping, slack-jawed and drooling and breathing through their mouth.
Yeah, I love people.
It's just like, what the fuck? Like you ask someone at Home Depot where to find a certain tool you're looking for, and they look at you like you just stabbed their mother. They're like, oh God, this person's talking to me. They look horrified.
Yeah.
What's that about?
Hey, Bobby, this is okay. You know what this is called, Bobby? How old are you?
I'm almost 40.
Yeah, this is called you're almost 40, Bobby. You're just becoming a crotchety, curmudgeon-y. Because when we were younger, you know what, Bob? Wait. When we were younger, it was the same shit. They'd give you the fucking look like, who the fuck are you? But you didn't care. It didn't bother you. Now you're older. You're wiser. Your back hurts when you wake up in the morning, right? Sometimes you have a hard time just trying to piss. So everything pisses you off.
It's either I can't shit or I can't stop shitting.
There's no in between.
There's no in between.
There's no middle gear there.
Yeah. It's really weird.
I'm just telling you, that's what it is.
Okay, so no, but it just feels like people are like husks. Like it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers out there.
Oh, funny you should mention that movie.
Like you, like I went again. I was at Home Depot and this kid's just like, fuck. He was high as a kite, is what he was.
Okay.
And he was like, hey, you answer some questions, put your name in a drawing for a gift card at Home Depot. I was just like, it was at that point where my brain wasn't firing fast enough to run away or make an excuse. It was like 9 a.m. I was just like, I don't feel like arguing against this drone of the Home Depot Corporation.
But Bobby, that's what you had that job when you were 20 years old. You probably went there stoned.
Can I fucking finish?
Okay, fine.
I'm not mad.
Okay.
We had a moment.
Okay.
This is where it all turns around. So
I'm
thinking,
around. Thank God.
I'm thinking, oh God, this is another one of those fucking pod people.
Mm-hmm.
But he's just kind of mumbling these questions, like, you live around here, are you a homeowner, you want to go to my van, and then he says something about like it sounded like he said, do you own a refrigerator? Because you just said, do you own or rent your home? And it sounded like he said, and I was like, did you just ask me if I owned a refrigerator? That kind of snapped me out of my daze.
Right, yeah.
And he's just like, no, sir. And there's like, right on. And then I just started giggling, and then he started giggling. And we had a pretty good giggle fit in the gardening section at Home Depot. And I felt like I connected with a husk person.
Why are they all pod people to you, Bobby?
It just seems like they're not. It's just like they're like robots. They're like biological robots.
There's this thing, I can't think of the medical term of it, but it's like a
lobotomy.
No, it's like a disorder where somebody, and let's just say the mental patient in this instance is you stop associating other human beings as actually being human beings, and there's like drone husk people to you. Paranoid schizophrenia, something like that, maybe.
Philosophically, it's called the sophilism. It's like where you think like the whole world is just like your own illusion, and you're like the main character and don't need to consider other people.
Now that's called the Truman Show.
And it's also
what I'm talking about.
He didn't know that on the Truman Show,
but it was true. That's what was really happening.
Oh God!
Have you ever seen the Truman Show?
The Truman Show is not about sophilism. Sophism.
You're just making up words. The point is, Bobby, whatever it is, you have it. Because they're not pop. There's regular, everyday people trying to live their life.
Sociopath.
They're just
that's so. Is it the energy I give off?
Of what?
Of like you give off a positive, welcoming energy to people. That's why you probably have better experiences with people.
Yeah, I'm friendly to everybody. I want to make friends with everybody. Every human being
out
there.
I don't want to talk to any of these fucking people.
Yeah.
So do you think that the people can read that? People can read the room, and they're not as.
I mean, I've seen you out in public. You look agitated.
Yeah.
And you're bigger than most people.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is a weird.
So they're like, "Oh my God, Sasquatch is talking to me."
Giant pissed off man.
Angry Sasquatch is talking to me. Just tell him where the knives are and go. The doorknobs
are
out.
Hey, where are the seeds? The lady's like, Maybe she was just scared because I'm enormous.
Or you could say, "Excuse me, madame, your hair looks lovely today. Could you be a deer and point me in the direction of the seeds?"
No, that would be considered like date rape in this day.
No, it works every time. You just gotta be nice to people, Bobby. Just be nice.
I don't want to get accused of date rape.
You don't get accused of date rape for being nice to people, Bobby. It's not gonna happen, all right?
Thrill me. Good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
Look, I'm not drinking tonight, okay?
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Okay? Can we get that on the table?
I mean, you are shotgunning those fucking bubbly waters.
I am shotgun and bubbly waters. I thought to myself, it's time.
Wait, that's a Topo Chico. Oh, no, it's not.
It's a sparkling white
It's just
lime.
a ginger lime sparkling water from Hubert E. Butt's grocery store.
What's the ABV on that?
0. It's
What the fuck's an ABV?
alcohol by volume.
Oh.
No. I'm it really has been years since I just had a solid week of sobriety
I like
from
how
alcohol.
1 week. That's
I'd done a month a few years ago. It wasn't that big a deal. The point is, I just want to, reset the sleep schedule, not be completely fucking dependent on it for my happiness. Going to see the Misfits on Saturday. Probably going to tie one on there.
Hey, I'm going to see the Misfits on Saturday.
Anyway, you're listening to the Not For Everyone podcast. My name is Snobby Bobby. Right in front of me is Crude Rude Dude.
Crude Rude Dude!
And a special guest on this very special Halloween Kinder Trauma episode we brought on...
Simple Austin.
Simple Austin is it? Simple Austin. Is that a new one? Did we come up with that?
No,
one?
I wanted to be called Just Plain Austin, and then you were like, "What is your name? Simple Austin?" And I was like, "That's it. That's the one."
That's a good
We
one.
got Simple Austin with us tonight. Again, Halloween season. Are we feeling spooky these days?
I feel very spooky.
I'm pretty spooky.
I haven't really done any Halloween shit in terms of like carving a pumpkin or hanging stuff on my house. My house always looks like Halloween.
I yelled at children. Does that count?
Yeah, it totally counts.
It's Halloween year long.
I got groped by a 6'7" demon, and that's not a joke. I went to an interactive haunted
Dikembe
house.
Mutombo?
Was it Gay Satan?
It wasn't Gay Satan. It was shout out Gay Satan.
Gay Satan!
No, it was a interactive haunted house, and the final boss of the haunted house was a demon, and he literally grabbed my pectoral muscles while saying creepy demon things into my face, like, "I will give you any pleasure you want."
So he grabbed you by the tits.
Yeah.
Austin, I have to ask, was it a gay haunted house?
I was feeling real special after that happened. So
I bet
would
you
say
were.
yes. I would
So
say
it
yes.
wasn't to be expected.
No, I don't know that. I mean, they
So
said
it works. That's what Adam just said. The gay haunted house is functional.
That sounds great. Fully functional.
Yeah, that was my spooky introduction. And then we were telling ghost stories earlier. So that was fun.
Spooky stories on Not For Everyone podcast. This is the Halloween episode.
Halloween!
Another one.
We got a lot of Halloweens.
Yeah. Do you have any haunted house stories, Adam? Did you ever go to one of those silly haunted houses?
Yeah, I love them. They're a lot of fun. I worked at one year, so I met Gay Satan. Great times. I was a clown. I scared people. I like those things. I've been really wanting to go to one this year, but I haven't gotten to yet. I'm trying to convince a pretty young lady to go with me, but we'll see what happens.
They're a bit pricey.
Are they?
They're like $40-$50 now.
They're a bit
Yeah.
spendy, huh?
But I mean, I don't mind it. It's just like when I was a kid, the haunted house you give them like an apple in a fucking can.
No, when you were a
pumpkin
kid, your
squirrel.
fucking parents paid for it. You had no clue.
Oh yeah. Or it was just like it wasn't even an amusement haunted house. It was like the neighbor's basement. It's like, come to my haunted house.
I want to unironically
Why are
go.
there spikes?
The grapes are eyeballs. Woo! I want to unironically go to a hell house, like one of the Christian hell houses, because I bet you they're pretty fucking freaky.
Wait, what do you mean? Hell house?
Okay, a hell house is Christian people will. It's
Not
a
that there's
haunted
anything
house.
wrong with that,
Not that there's
folks.
anything wrong with being Christian, but whatever. But they will set up each room is like a version of hell. So, for example, someone might be having like an abortion, and like it's like they're cradling their dead
yeah,
fetus
yeah,
child,
yeah.
or like it shows like a gay person having AIDS and like dying of AIDS, and like so there's all these like very like life choice centric things that but nightmarishly hellish, and
The
apparently
AIDS
they're
room was powerful.
yeah, exactly. And apparently they're terrifying. And I'm like, you know, like, no offense, but clowns jumping out of me doesn't really freak me out. But like that would spook me quite a bit.
AIDS babies are freaky
Dismembered
as shit.
fetuses and AIDS.
Yeah,
I'll tell you, one
exactly.
time I went to one of those they went to a church and they put on a play, and the play was about heaven and hell and what you could do to get to heaven and what you could do to get to hell. I might have told the story a couple years ago when it went. But the funniest thing was they had all these like little parables of like, oh, this person believed in God, so they go to heaven. But the last story is a mom and her kid, and they're coming out of the mall. And the kid's like, Mom, you need to go to church with me. And Mom's like, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm too busy. I'm working 2 jobs to support us. I work at the soup kitchen to help poor people. And then this family gets hit by a car and both die.
Sounds like a DMV safety video.
The mom or the daughter goes to heaven because the kid went to church. Mom, who's just trying to support her child, a fucking soup kitchen to help homeless people, goes to hell because you didn't love Jesus. If you don't love Jesus, you go to hell.
Couple things there.
I agree.
Couple things there. I don't think that's what happened in that play.
No, that's exactly what
no,
happened in that
I went
play.
to a
I've
Sunday
seen
school
exactly
thing.
that
what
play
happened.
before. I've
I
seen
don't.
that play before.
I went to a Sunday school thing where it was a very similar thing where like a terrorist attack killed all these people, and then it was like the serial killer who repented and accepted Jesus went to heaven,
Yeah.
and then it was like the guy who was an ostensibly good person. The moral of the story was you can be a serial killer and get into heaven. Or
I think
you
you
can be a good
guys
person
are
to go to
both
hell.
have extremely cynical.
No, dude,
memories
I'm
of
relaying
these
an
things.
experience that happened to me.
Yeah, we've seen this, Bob.
Well, I will say this.
Quit being a denier.
Of the
I'm
three
making
of
no
us in
judgment
here,
about it.
of
I
the
thought
three
it
of
was
us in here, I
hilarious.
think it is safe to say, not to like, I would probably consider myself more religious than you guys, and I don't want anything to do with hell houses or.
You wouldn't go to a hell house with me?
Pussy.
I would go, but I don't.
I'm not going to mock
I don't
it.
think it's good optics for the Christian community.
You want to know my belief system?
So I don't really.
I think of it
condone
like this, Bobby. Because you actually believe in hell, he and I, we can go be sinners. We can all go sin the same amount. And you're the only one that's going to end up in hell because you believe that dumb shit. We're fine. We'll be fine. We'll go to gay heaven or Valhalla or wherever we want to go.
Gay heaven.
I'm living in hell
At the
right
YMCA.
now.
Living in
Every
hell.
day is
Every
hell
day is
for me.
hell. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know what? It's all gonna get better. For me.
There's no promise at the end of this shit. We die.
There's also no time to go down these rabbit holes because it's the Halloween episode on the Not For Everyone podcast. Okay.
Hail Satan.
I know we praise Jesus. I know
Stop it, Bobby.
that we
I will quit right now.
have a lot of thoughts on this new Halloween movie.
I love thoughts.
It sounds like everybody's got a lot of thoughts on it. I think I have the least amount of thoughts on it out of everyone out there. You guys, all right, we'll start with Austin.
I loved it. I really liked it. I thought they really did a good job with all 3 movies. You can bitch and complain about whatever you want about these movies, but keep in mind you are probably having a very rosy view of slasher sequels in general. These were competently made movies. They were violent. They were gory. They were fun to watch. And maybe it didn't live up to every little expectation you had, but it was a great movie.
When
I
you
liked
say
it.
these, you're talking about all 3 of the new Blumhouse ones.
the 3
The trilogy.
David Gordon
Okay,
Green
so
ones,
this,
yeah. Gordon
this
Green
last
trilogy.
one, though, is pretty, I wouldn't even call it divisive. I would just say most people don't like it.
I wouldn't say that. I see a lot of like horror fans that are like, "Oh, that movie sucked," and I'm like, "What?" I don't understand why. Because I watched Halloween Ends. I've watched it 4 times since it came out because I got the Peacock, and it's fucking amazing.
I'm just glad this new series of Halloween movies are actual watchable Halloween
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I mean
That's the point,
anything,
yeah.
anything.
movies. Because
after,
I'm sorry, after 4, I'm done.
No, after Season of the Witch, I'm done. Halloween 4 was shit. Halloween 5 was shit. Halloween 6, fucking H2O, they're all shit. I like the Rob Zombie ones, but they're nothing compared to this new trilogy.
I like the one with Busta Rhymes.
But okay, so on this new one though, like that was good. It had an older feel to it. Like it felt like an 80s movie where it was more.
You have like the bullies.
Yeah, you got the bullies. It had a real Christine vibe to it.
Yeah.
just like it was different.
It felt like it not for better. Like this doesn't bother, but it did feel like they were going for that.
Yeah.
A lot of like, okay, so one of the feedback I got on my Letterboxd review, which was very brief, it was basically it's fine. This one guy was like a lot of people feel like it feels like a CW show.
What?
With lots of violence.
I haven't watched enough CW shows to fucking.
Okay, let me just kind of put all those haters in their place.
Okay.
For one, Halloween Ends. It starts out the year after the first 2 Halloween movies. Now, this is why I love this new trilogy of Halloween movies, because it allows you to ignore all of the stupid, bullshit, magical, whatever fucking lore.
There's like 9 timelines.
Yeah, it
like
allows
the
you to
Busta
ignore
Rhymes one.
all of that. Shut up with Busta Rhymes. All right?
I like the Busta Rhymes one.
This is serious. We can make you delirious. And you should have a healthy fear of us. Because too much of us is
that Busta?
Yes, Busta Rhymes!
Are you busting rhymes?
I'm
right
busting
now?
rhymes, motherfucker. So no, these new movies, they're very well made. They're made by comedians and people who make comedy, which is
Who can do horror, by the way?
arguably harder to make comedy than horror, I would imagine.
I would think so.
So they're good at putting their ideas into the screen. I fucking love this trilogy. So I've rewatched it again 4 times in the last 2 weeks. And when I first saw Halloween 2018, I was like, it was all right. I had a couple gripes, right? I was like, it was cool. It was a cool Jason. It was a cool Michael Myers movie. When I saw Halloween Kills, I was like, okay, that was cool, you know? And then when I watched Halloween Ends, this was the one that fucking got me, where I was like, holy shit, start to finish. Fucking amazing.
Honestly, aside from the first Halloween, as far as Michael Myers, we're not talking about Season of the Witch. That's its own thing.
It's its own thing. It's beautiful.
Aside from the first Halloween, like all the rest of them, I could honestly take or leave.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt my feelings if I never see them again.
Sure.
And that said, on top of the fact that it had such a horrible run after the 4th, 5th one or so, and I'm always optimistic about, like, what other choice do you have, right? Like, it's like you can go in there and get ready to piss and moan, or you can just kind of learn how to, like, appreciate certain things. Like, what I appreciated about it was this wasn't fucking horrible.
Well, and on that point, like, we got the Halloween Kills was the one where it's like, let's just see Michael Myers fuck shit up.
Start to finish.
And start to finish, it's just him rampaging, killing tons of people. And it's like, did you want another movie of that?
Yeah.
Like
No,
this was different.
I don't.
Yeah, the people
No.
that argue
And-
that Halloween Ends was not enough like a Halloween movie, like Halloween and Halloween Kills, there's all you could ever want.
It's all you can eat
of
buffet
Michael
of
Myers.
Michael Myers killing
Like
people.
it's all one night. The first movie in this trilogy is 40 years after the very first movie, right? And he comes back and he kills like 17 people. And then they think they kill him at the end of the movie. And then the sequel starts with, nope, Michael Myers was in a burning building and then he got out and slaughtered 12 fucking firefighters.
Michael Myers is supernatural.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's superhuman.
Jason is supernatural.
Jason's a zombie. Yeah, he's supernatural.
Yeah. Well, I guess, Michael Myers is more Jason's kind of the unstoppable force. Anyway, I like how they just like, he's just a fucking serial killer that lives down in a pipe that has a legend around here.
Are we doing a little bit of spoilery stuff?
Oh, we're gonna
If
spoil
you
all of
haven't
it.
seen it,
Yeah.
at this point, you don't care one way or the
Right,
other.
right. Okay, so when the kid falls off the balcony and splats on the floor,
That's so beautiful.
and
Kid
starts
death.
coughing up blood, I was like, yeah, there is literally no way I can dislike this movie at this point. Like when you
Child
start,
death.
yeah, when you start off that strong, and then the thing is, there were so many punctuated moments that re-upped it.
I want to talk a little bit about that first scene, right?
Yeah.
And I've watched it again with different people. And after I saw it myself, just to kind of gauge their reaction. The thing that's so brilliant about it is, as the story goes, it's this kid's babysitting another kid, like the year after. It's the Halloween after Michael Myers just literally killed 45 people in one fucking town with all sorts of weapons. And so everybody's all kind of nervous. And this guy's just trying to be a good babysitter. And so all this little stuff happens, and it's creepy. It's ominous. There's a good vibe to it, you know? But you're expecting, like, Michael Myers is going to show up and fucking kill these people. And then what happens, the little asshole kid locks the babysitter in a fucking attic, and the babysitter kicks the door open. The kid's stupid and stands right in front of the door and gets kicked off a third fucking flight of stairs and splatters on the ground. And it's just,
Yeah, Austin just said
Chef's
that.
kiss.
it's
Chef's
amazing.
kiss.
It's fucking amazing.
Chef's kiss.
But
No, it
you didn't
really was
expect that
beautiful.
to happen. You don't think the babysitter's going to kill the kid.
You know the old man in the Olive Garden commercial uncle who comes from the old country. He's like, "Mwah!"
That's no. Okay, so when that happened, when the kid splatted on the floor, yeah, when the kid splats on the floor, right? I turned to the person I saw the movie with, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" I literally said the words "Holy shit" out loud. And when was the last time that has ever happened to you in a movie theater?
Right.
Where you actually turn to the person you're with and go, "Holy shit!"
Right.
And the thing is, like, that's what it was unpredictable. It was different.
It
and, like,
subverted expectations.
It subverted
And the
expectations.
whole movie did that. The whole movie did that. It was very. It was honorable to the legend of Halloween, right? Michael Myers was in it. It was a story that, sure, we've seen that kind of story with the good kid with a deck stacked against him go bad. Like we've seen Christine, but it was such a beautiful homage to those movies. And I think in all three of these, it really grabs the 80s feel of the slashing and the killing. Like the first two Halloween and Halloween Kills, all these people got slaughtered because they just didn't know. And Michael Myers is out fucking everybody up.
Michael Myers himself in this movie is almost like a Jaws thing where it's just kind of muttered about for like at least the first half, I would say.
Yeah, the half hour.
And then you finally get some real visual. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh yeah, this is a Halloween movie. Which again, I don't hold the Halloween franchise sacred. So I was just like,
it's my favorite.
I didn't hate it.
It's my favorite of the major franchise.
Above Freddy?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So
it's the favorite of your
you heard it here first.
franchises?
Out of the franchises, I would say
out of the big three.
Huh?
The big three: Jason, Freddy.
Well, that's not the big three.
Who are the big three?
You can't. It's
It'd
not
be
just three.
It would be Jason, Freddy, and Halloween.
It'd be Jason, Freddy, Halloween, Leatherface, and Pinhead.
That's 5.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, there's
You're
no
right.
big
You're right.
fucking
Leatherface.
three.
Let's throw Chucky in there.
They always put Jason and Freddy as the big two, and I get it, but I like Pinhead and Michael Myers.
Yeah.
Adam, I
better.
swear I have recordings of you talking mad shit about the Halloween franchise.
Because they sucked. Until they started making these fucking
You don't
good
even
movies.
need to pull the tape.
So what you're saying
Right.
between the Rob Zombie stuff and then this new Blumhouse, it's redeemed itself from the shit.
Oh yeah.
And now the good almost is at least equal with the bad. Is that what you're saying?
I would say there's enough good now.
I'm not a fan of that Rob Zombie ones, by the way.
There's enough good now that I can easily ignore all the shitty Halloween and be like, you know what? There's still a good like 5, 6, 7 movies I can watch that I enjoy.
Does he ever go to space?
No. Michael Myers does not go to space. He
Everything
shouldn't
else
leave Haddonfield if we're going to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's right.
Freddy
Like,
didn't go to space.
you just realize Haddonfield, there's just been so many Halloweens where people die. They literally have to brace for it
And
every
one
year.
night in 2018, 45 people died at the hands of Michael Myers. I'd fucking move. Even if I was on city council, I'd fucking
still
move.
be on the news.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Rank the 3 new ones.
Reverse order. 3, 2, 1. 1's great, but 2 is just nonstop kills, and then 3 is like it's its own cool fucking thing that ties in the mythology beautifully. They even use the color of the words for Halloween in the credits, blue, because of Halloween 3: Season of the Witch. Which
That's a nice observation there.
Mine is Halloween Kills number 1, Halloween Ends number 2, and then Halloween number 3. Yeah.
Wait, what?
2, 3, 1.
2, 3, 1, in that order.
Yeah, that's mine too. 2,
2, 3, 1.
I really like the mob justice Frankenstein
it's so great.
stuff.
Oh,
for
the mob
second
justice.
one.
It's
Well,
also
okay.
so violent.
The
I love
themes
it.
of this
And
movie.
that felt like a really good slasher sequel.
Right, because it was made by like, actual filmmakers. So there's like actual themes going on in the movie, you know? Like the first one is, okay, like what happens to the victim that gets away from the serial killer? What happens to the person that gets away from a monster? And Laurie Strode turned into a monster, you know? And she gets to fight her monster. And then the second movie is, oh, the city realizes this is there. The city turns into the monster to try to fight the monster. And then they all end up getting killed. And then the third one is just the trauma of what's happened in the city, creating a new monster
I love
out
this.
of somebody who had a bad fucking
I didn't
streak.
even think about this.
Yeah.
But you're spot on. Like that is a through line that ties together. You know what? Now I'm like, man, these are way better.
They're way fucking better than we give them
I
credit
thought
for.
they were, and I already really liked them.
Well,
Watch it all again.
do you
Watch the whole
guys-
trilogy
well,
again
I
in a
know
row.
you guys consider it like something you may revisit.
yeah,
regularly?
oh yeah,
yeah.
they're super scary and violent and awesome.
My kid loves them. He's watched all three
I
of them.
feel
He
like
loves them.
the like this is the quintessential like life cycle of a franchise. Like you have one fucking, nobody saw it coming. You have a sequel that's just a rehash of the first one, only a little bit higher stakes. And then it just progressively gets kind of weirder and dumber. And then they just kind of milk it because it's a known franchise. Then it goes away for a while. And then they try to remarket it for like the new audience, but it's still not quality. They're just like, we got this license. Let's fucking throw something out there. See if the kids today will like it.
I hear what you're saying.
Like 2008 Friday the 13th.
Right, no, yeah.
They did it with...
Or the Busta Rhymes
They
one.
did it with...
They did it with all of them.
No. They did it with the Jackie Earl Haley.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger. But here's the thing.
But now it's getting to the point where it's like, okay, well, we tried all that cash grab shit. We have to actually, if we want to keep this going, we have to actually hire good filmmakers.
Or just do like the Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The ones that have actually been...
That was terrible.
I loved it.
I didn't love it.
I mean, it's so
hated it.
gory.
I didn't finish it, to be fair.
Like, the thing about that movie is like, okay, there's all these fucking woke-ass characters, but at least... And they're so annoying and cunty, but at least they all get killed. But I don't even want to have to see them. Like the Halloween movies prove to me you don't have to
I think I'd watched
these shitty, hateable characters to still have a good fucking horror movie.
I think I'd watched X like right around the same time as I watched new Texas Chainsaw. I was like, X is the new gold standard for modern slashers, I think. And I don't know. I didn't hate the new one. I just didn't feel the desire to go back and finish it either.
I did. There's some good kills, but again, like they're not remaking Freddy Krueger. They're not making Freddy Krueger or Jason. They haven't in like 13 years, boys. Like Freddy and Jason,
they'll give it
that
to,
are still the top two contenders. They've been out of the game.
They'll cast like Miles Teller as the new Freddy Krueger, and I'm like, fuck, what the fuck?
He's already got a scar in his
Harry
face.
Styles is Freddy Krueger. We're gonna give him a sexy angle this time.
For some reason, I just thought of, as you were saying that, Hugh Grant as Pinhead.
But see, this is why Michael Myers works. Because Michael Myers can be anybody in a fucking worker jumpsuit and a mask. It can be fucking anybody.
Nick Castle's my Jason, or Michael Myers.
One difference between Michael Myers and Jason to me is that Michael Myers is scary because he's just a man, an unstoppable man.
Mm-hmm.
Jason is like literally like a buffed up zombie nightmare monster, but Michael Myers is just a dude who has an unspeakable malice inside of him.
Think about this. This is the beauty of Michael Myers, right? He stalks. He's the fucking boogeyman. So he stalks around, goes in somebody's house, kills them, and then he's like, you know what? I want to make this look pretty. So I'm going to chop your head off, and I'm going to put it inside of a pumpkin, and then I'm going to put that pumpkin in a closet, and I'm going to light a candle in there, so it's just lit with the closet kind of open. Then I'm going to hide in this other closet over here and just wait. Just wait till somebody comes in and sees that and screams, and then I bust out of the closet and slaughter them too. It's like... It's fucking brilliant.
Jason's not doing any of that.
He's not doing none of that.
Well, yeah,
Michael is an artist.
You bring up an interesting point I'd like to get your take on, Adam. Of all those, horror franchises that we've just discussed, I would say, like, surprising, like Halloween never turned into like splatter films.
I mean, was the Busta Rhymes one really gory?
I don't think so. I think it's a lot of just like knives and like strangulations and
axes and
there's no like exploding like fucking Johnny Depp on his ceiling. Bed of blood.
You're never gonna see the kind of shit in a Michael Myers movie you've seen in a Freddy movie.
So I guess my point is like these movies can still remain fun and watchable for the most part, not all of them. With like honestly, like we watch like. 80% of the reason to watch like Nightmare on Elm Street movies is for the kills, right?
Yeah.
Like the 100% of the reason to watch Friday the 13th is for the kills. Like the kills are the showcase. But you make a great point here that the Halloween movies are more about everything in between the kills.
Yeah.
It's
there's the killer Michael Myers is a background character, but he happens to be like what everyone's talking about and fearing or whatever. Not so much in this movie, not so much as in this one, but he's always lurking in the background where like the good Halloween movies give time for like actual characters, whereas like Friday the 13th 3 is like, Shelly's the kid that can't get laid. And
Right.
blah, blah, blah. You know, there's none of that shit in these movies.
I've rewatched the new trilogy like 4 times in the last 2 weeks. And I've been like, well, maybe I should watch Curse of Michael Myers. I'm like, oh, I fucking hate that movie. And I'm like, maybe I should watch Halloween 4.
That's like the last
and I'm
of the
like,
watchable
I
ones.
fucking hate that. They're not that good. And in Halloween Kills, I remember when I first saw it, I was like, wow, this takes elements from Halloween 4 where the mob is chasing down Michael, but they did it better, you know?
Loomis is pretty much worthless in all of them, but I love that I love Donald Pleasance in that role.
Oh, yeah, I love.
But
Donald
he's
Pleasance.
just waltzing around the town like, have
He's
you
a
seen
monster.
anyone get murdered
Kill
lately?
the monster.
And then he shows up at the end and he gets away again. You're like, he's shaking his fist at the moonlight and
To
shit.
be fair, he did put 6 bullets in Michael Myers.
That's true. You know what I mean, though. You're killing my humor.
Between Halloween and Halloween Kills, he got shot like 15 times. He got stabbed countless times. He got shot in the face. He got hit in the face with a bag of bricks. He got set on fire. Like all this shit. And Michael Myers didn't die. And I've heard people say, well, when Halloween ends, he's like all crippled and shit. I'm like, dude, he got, in one night, he got like fucking so much lead in him. And then he didn't go to the hospital. He went in the sewer and ate rats and lived for fucking 4 years.
All right, Adam. Don't come in your pants. We got to move on.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie. I liked it.
Yeah.
I'd say it's my top pick of the year so far.
All right. All right. Given that the theme this year, this Halloween, is childhood trauma, Kinder trauma, as they call it in Germany, I guess.
Kindertrauma.
Kindertrauma.
Und Kindertrauma.
What I want to do instead of have a very special movie recap, where we're going to talk about not movies but specific scenes, whether it be horror or not, just specific scenes that fucking, clawed their way into your psyche as a young child and just created brain paths of terror.
Oh, yeah.
I've got a healthy list here. Who's starting?
Let's start with Austin since he's the new one, the new guy.
The guest.
Simple Austin.
So I'm gonna just run through all 5 of mine.
No.
We're gonna go
around the mulberry bush here.
You're
Around
going
the
to fucking change
mulberry
the
bush.
fucking rules up here.
All right, you go
All right.
first, Adam.
Oh,
Okay.
I got my rights revoked.
Your rights are revoked. So I have a pretty healthy list here. And it's funny
I'm going to
because...
read all 5 at once.
Yeah, read them all at once. A lot of these movies we've already covered. A lot of these movies are legitimately my favorite movies now.
Now, we're not talking about the movie. We're talking about the scene in the movie. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah, I get the rules, Bobby.
So we're talking about the scene in the movie,
The
Adam.
scene in the movie that destroyed your brain as a child, made you scared.
So something that we've covered, and I've talked about this before.
Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Well, it's on the list, but that's not what I was going to start with. But yeah, let's go with Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
Nice segue for the last segment.
So, the fucking masks, man. The masks melting the child's face into bugs and snakes and all that. That shit fucked me up. I was like, fuck Halloween 3, it's stupid, for years and years and years and years because it scared me so much as a child. And then I watched it as an adult, I was like, this is the shit. So... I can get King, my son, to watch all the Halloween movies with me. So I was like, okay, it's finally time to show him Season of the Witch. And so we're watching it, and he's like, oh, I got to cover my eyes because there's tits. I don't make him do that. He does that himself.
Ugh.
But we got to the scene where the lady's in the hotel room, and she's fiddling with the silver shamrock medallion, and it blasts her in the face. And there's the awful, awesome-looking melted face with the lips all blown out, and a bug crawls out of it, and King's like, I'm done. I don't want to watch this anymore.
The acorn doesn't fall far from
I was
the
like, this movie,
big,
this movie
loud, drunk tree.
I was like, this movie just traumatized me as a child. He's like, why are you showing it to me, Dad? I'm like, to make you stronger, son.
That's amazing.
He's
to
like-
make you
he's like,
strong.
I'm going to level it with you. Why that?
Why are we watching this? So yeah, we never got to the scene that horrified me throughout my childhood years, which is the kid with the pumpkin mask watching TV innocently enough while his head explodes into snakes and spiders and things.
All right.
You're making me realize something. So I didn't watch this movie until I was like a little older, and it didn't traumatize me as a child, but as an adult, or like a young adult at least, I realized I have a thing for child murder. Like I love that movie
Okay,
right
all
off the gate, and I was like, oh, like kids' faces exploding. I'm
Assault
in.
on Precinct 13.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Halloween ends. I mean, you like kids getting killed.
I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. Please don't put me on
Well,
the watch list.
We're not.
It's fine.
We're not talking about the top 5 things that make us hard. We're talking about the top 5 things that scared us when we were little children. Now, Austin, you were already talking there. What do you got? You ready?
One,
right,
one
I'm
at a
ready.
time. One.
So this is a classic example, but Nightmare on Elm Street. My parents let me watch these movies when I was very young. I was probably 5 years old or so. And it's the scene where the woman flies to the top of the ceiling and then gets slashed open, but you don't even see Freddy. You just see her innards get slashed
Guts
open,
get got.
blood's flying out. And the notable thing about this scene is that it freaked me out real bad. And then my dad took me aside and he was like, okay, look, here's the deal. It's a movie. This is fake. If it's scaring you, just ask the question, how did they do that? And it like totally changed my tolerance for all this stuff as a child, as a young child.
Interesting.
It went from being sheer terror and abject just fear at these things to being like
Inquisitive.
like, oh, that's cool. She got her gut slashed open. Like, I wonder how they did that, you know?
I'm gonna say that to King tonight when I get home and
it's-
make him watch a horror movie when he's in bed. I'm gonna wake him up.
I
tell him
told
that.
my dad, I was like, that's the best, as a father, that was the best thing you ever did. And he's like, oh, good, I'm glad I did something right.
And that was the day you graduated high school.
Yeah.
I'm going to point this out now. I'm going to make a prediction about Austin's picks. None of them are going to be like typical movies, for kids.
He just picked Friday the 13th.
No, I'm just saying, like, this is like when we're really, really fucking young. But you're the guy that like saw all that shit.
My
young.
my parents would have been the one taking me to see Saw in the movie theater as like a 4-year-old. They're
Right.
like, it's good cinema.
All right. See, yeah, I'm making a prediction there. It's not going to be like some kids movie with a scary scene.
Are yours? Because mine are all horror movies.
No, not necessarily.
What do you got?
Now there was a show on anthology horror series on in the late 80s, early 90s called Monsters. Do you guys remember this?
Nuh-uh.
It was called Monsters. It's really, really ham-fisted and kind of silly now. There's some scary ones in it. It was a lot of I want to say it was a lot of kind of like tier 2 80s horror directors kind of thing. But the intro in it is like this family of monsters gathering around the TV to watch monsters.
This sounds familiar now.
And they look kind of like sea monkeys, like scary sea monkeys. But the daughter is just this little girl, looks like any little girl you would go to school in second grade with, like a jumper maybe and some overalls, blonde hair, and she has one fucking eye. Okay? And this is a silly family horror show about monsters and whatnots on not even cable. It was like regular TV. But the little girl with the one eye scarred me so bad. I forgot about it for years, but I would always have dreams about this one-eyed girl outside, and I would draw pictures of her on my notebook and shit.
Wow.
What was it about the one-eyed girl?
It looked so...
Was she like a cyclops or like an eye patch?
She was a cyclops.
Cyclops girl. Oh, yeah, that is horrifying. I'm watching
I
it
should have
now.
specified that.
That's horrifying.
Yeah.
Look at her face.
Oh my God.
Wow, that dad looks like me.
Yeah, the dad looks like a fat sea monkey.
He looks like a potato. I do remember this show.
Yeah. So that one-eyed girl, I didn't know what that was for years. Mm-hmm. And then I was dicking around on the internet one day. I'm like, holy fuck, there she is. And I finally figured it out.
You figured it out, Bobby.
Did you,
And then I climaxed, yes.
Okay, that's what I was getting at.
And then I finally was able to climax.
Finally, as a man,
For the first time.
you were able to orgasm.
Oh, that's just what that is.
Now you can only get off the one-eyed women. There's a lot of Futurama porn on this computer here. So am I up? Is it my turn?
Yeah.
The
horror
mulberry
movies.
bush has arrived.
We got a
at you.
good pace going, and then Adam's over there looking at fucking Cyclops porn.
Yeah, whatever. We all got our kinks. So, again, I think like Austin, I watched a lot of these movies before I should have, right? And a lot of it was because of where I lived in New Braunfels, Texas. The San Antonio TV station, KBB, on Saturday afternoons would play action and horror movies, and I saw a shit ton of them. So one of those that stood out for me, something we've covered here before in the Not For Everyone podcast, The Stuff.
Oh, yeah.
The Stuff. The Marshmallow Fluff movie.
I've seen this as a pretty typical kinder trauma. It's always on a list, but what scene specifically?
So it's towards the end of the movie. I know the movie very well now. What's his name? Mo Betta?
Kevin Dillon.
Cookie or what was it?
Not Kevin Dillon. It wasn't the cat. Michael Moriarty.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Michael Moriarty is running around.
Mo Bodine. Or something
Yeah,
like that. I
yeah.
forgot
They call
his
me
name.
Mo because I always want Mo money. So he's running around with the fucking AK, and he starts blasting this dude who's like one of the security soldiers for the stuff factory. And as he's shooting this dude, instead of blood flying out of the man, it's marshmallow fluff. Just white, creamy, oozy, sticky fluff shooting out of every hole
You're getting me excited here.
but shooting out of every hole that's being poked in him. And so there's just this horrible gore of fluff. The thing was, like, as a child, and I was probably like 8 or 9, I'm seeing this, I'm like, wait a sec, so the man is full of that stuff because he ate that stuff. Like, I was legitimately scared of marshmallow fluff for years because I saw that guy get shot, and just the idea that the fluff had eaten him while he was eating it, just very disturbing to me.
Did you conquer your fear of marshmallow stuff by eating a lot of it?
Oh, I'll eat the fuck out of that shit now. I don't care. I don't care. But then,
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what to say about that.
don't say anything.
But your explanation kind of makes sense, I guess. We don't decide these things, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. Austin, what's your next one?
All right. So this one, short, sweet, simple. Poltergeist 2, the braces scene.
Oh, fuck. That's one of my favorite scenes like that of all time.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, a kid has braces in the movie, and the poltergeist basically makes his braces extend and create like a metal mesh web that then like attaches him to the ceiling. Mm-hmm. And this is an example of where my parents were watching this movie without us, and I walked in, saw the scene, and just like it freaked me the fuck out. And
Did you have braces?
I did not. Well, eventually I did, but this was, like I said, like I'm young little child.
That's a good
it
one.
scared the living shit out of me, and it's burned into my brain.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
I love that scene. Have you seen Poltergeist 2?
Yeah, Bobby.
No, I'm just making conversation on the podcast.
Yeah, I've seen Poltergeist. It's great.
All right. Great one. Great scene in general. I can see why that would scare you as a child. My next one is from a movie I watched almost every single day. One of my first VHS memories is from the movie E.T. And no, it's not when he turns into a piece of white dog poop and moans in a river. It's not that scene. It's a jump scare. It's his first appearance to Elliot in the cornfields. Because it's a really tense scene because Elliot's out there and like the dog's like acting weird. He's going to like check on the dog, and he hears noise off in the cornfield, and the way that the clacking of that fucking flashlight he has, and he's walking through the cornfield, and then all of a sudden the light pans into the face of E.T., who we haven't seen at this point.
Right.
And he's going like this with his fingers, and he's going.
You've given a very Spielbergian verbal portrait of this scene. I'm impressed.
And then all the scenes with the sharks, that was all accidental, But it worked. It worked. It was a lightning in a bottle. No, but yeah, that scene with the E.T. in the cornfield, for some reason, as much as I watch that movie almost every single day, I usually close my eyes during that part.
Wow. Is it my turn?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do I guess this counts as a kid's movie. Return to Oz.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad it came up.
Return to
what
Oz.
part?
It's not the
Just
headless.
the movie.
No, it's not the headless broad. It's not just the movie.
Wheelers.
It's the fucking Wheelers, dude.
Yep.
The fucking Wheelers. Scared the shit out of me. And now you watch them like, y'all just look like, I don't know, like...
Tim Burton does Circus Soleil.
Yeah, it looks like nothing now. But when I was a little kid, those fucking Wheelers like chased me around in my dreams and shit, man. They were fucking terrifying.
They were really scary. And I think what was really scary is like how these things don't make sense. Mm-hmm. So like humans, and they don't have legs or arms. They just have these appendages with wheels on them. So like they have to like eat like an animal.
Yeah.
If you think about it. Honestly, Wheelers are scary. Also, just like the idea of children electroshock therapy is scary. It's in that movie. And then, of course, that scene with the heads. Mombi with the heads. That was just like a stress-inducing Ben Stiller of a scene.
Well, we're not talking about the whole movie, Bobby, but yeah, there's a lot of shit in that movie that's fucking terrifying.
I like when they're just like, Dorothy, you were crazy, and
We're gonna shock you.
yeah,
Yes,
It's dark.
That's intense. So my next scene is a classic, Large Marge from Pee-wee's
God, you
Big
guys are hitting them out
Adventure.
of the park tonight.
Oh my God, I love Pee-wee's Big Adventure was a staple in our household, and it would be like I knew it was coming every fucking time.
tell him Large Marge sent you.
Yeah, every time Large Marge goes "Blah!" and like turns into the freaky face, I knew it was coming, but it would scare the shit out of me every single time. I loved it.
When you watch that scene now, it's not that it looks bad. It still looks great, but you can tell it's like stop motion claymation. But even it was still scary as fuck at the
Well,
time.
and it's the build up. She like tells this really terrifying
Yeah.
ghost story, and then it's like, and like as a kid,
And you're like, why?
yeah, as a kid, that is exactly what will scare
And
the
it's,
crap
yeah,
out
and
of
that's
you.
not a movie that you're expecting to get scared at. Fucking Pee Wee Herman. you know?
Exactly.
That movie has it has the hospital clown.
Oh God! I mean, that traumatized me too. I mean,
Yeah.
I picked Large Marge because it's very iconic. But yeah, the hospital clowns where the guy has the scrub or the mask on his face. He pulls it down. He's got the super creepy clown mouth. Woo!
Not to say that it's scary, but it was super upsetting. Is just when that black ship is coming out of Francis's mouth after
Yeah,
he gives him
yeah.
the trick gum.
Yeah.
And it just holds on it, and he's smiling, and there's like tar coming out of
Yeah.
the side. That it's not meant to be scary, but it really did kind of mind fuck me as a child. That image.
It'll do it.
You should paint that.
All right,
You
Yeah,
should
paint that, Austin.
I'll paint it.
that.
I'll put it in my pool.
sure.
Well, you should paint the bottom of a pool with that.
With just that and have like tar come out of that spot. Don't step on the tar. That's real tar down there. All right.
The Francis pool. All right.
You're up, Bobby.
Oh, I'm up. So I guess the Francis's tar mouth didn't count. I got to go with a kind of a Austin situation. It's one of the earlier super, like very intentionally scary movies that I saw at a very young age. Was The Shining. So like my dad was a big Stephen King fan, so like especially when I was that age. So but Room 237 when old Jack is is walking
Old naked lady.
into the naked lady in the shower, and remember it's a hotel where no one's supposed to be there because
Right.
they're just the winter caretakers, right, Adam? That's what happens in The Shining.
That's what happens in the movie. The
And then
Shining.
she like devolves into a cackling old liver spotted witch. And then her skin starts to kind of like mangle off into like almost a green tint.
It's like lumping off, yeah.
Yeah,
just hanging there.
And then you just like it's one of your first time you see a lady's bosom. It's not a great fucking start, you know.
No, it's like, look at that. That looks. Is that what it's supposed to look like? Is that what it's supposed to look like? Yeah.
So all those things combined, I know it's kind of cliche, but I really I had a hard time
It's
showering
super
and taking
scary.
baths after that scene for like a while.
And I think one thing I'm noticing is that we're naming a lot of these things, and I was like, oh yeah, I was freaked out by that as a kid. Like, The Shining, that whole thing scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Really powerful stuff, folks.
Yeah.
So this should come as no surprise to anybody who knows the podcast or knows me. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's ridiculous. I fucking love it. It traumatized the shit out of me when I was 8 years old. And the scene that really did it is the pizza delivery scene, because they knock on the door, and just imagine with me, okay?
It's pizza.
You're in the real world, and you're a hot woman in lingerie or something. You open the door, and there's a clown holding the pizza box. Now that pizza box then opens up, and another full-size clown, defying the laws of physics, pops out the front of that pizza box and shoots you with a ray gun that turns you into cotton candy.
Can I just say that sequence is a wonderful allegory for your one night stand escapades.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I open the box, another clown comes out, shoots cotton candy all over him, and then never seen
And you brought
again.
a pizza, so that was nice.
Yeah. No, that defined my life, I guess is what you're saying. You're probably right, Bobby. But
it's definitely a source of your clown king.
it freaked me the fuck out, man. Like, it just didn't make sense. Like, I know it's a stupid ass movie and they're clowns from outer space, but how can clowns from outer space? How do you have a pizza box that's like an infinite hole in it?
It's those things are just look scary looking.
How old were you? Do you think when
8.
you, 8? Okay.
I remember I was like 8 years old.
Prime, like, spooky time, yeah.
Oh, we watched that at my grandma's house.
These are the Chiodo brothers.
And that night, like, I couldn't sleep. I was just so afraid there were clowns outside the house. It fucked me up. That one got me good.
Would you say you can't sleep, clowns will eat me?
I wouldn't say I went.
Did you have that T-shirt from Hot Topic, Adam?
No, but I
I
had
just
it.
said that over
He
and over again.
hesitated.
I had that before there was a Hot Topic.
But it had a cool collar.
Yeah.
All right, so my next one is a movie that is very near and dear to my heart. Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, God.
I loved that movie as a child, was fascinated by it. And when Buffalo Bill tucks his penis between his legs and starts dancing to Q Lazarus's Goodbye Horses.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. We love you. And there's the woman suit in the background, and it is, I was terrified but fascinated.
Give me an age.
When it came out, 1991, so I would have been 6 years old.
Wow.
Wow. And my parents were like, "It's a good movie. You deserve to see good art."
Wow, no shit.
Yeah. They were like,
I wouldn't even show my
an
kid.
Oscar.
I wouldn't show King Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Won an Oscar.
it's an amazing film.
We're gonna
And
watch Midnight Cowboy next.
my brother and I, to this day, I have entire 5-minute chunks of that movie memorized. Like, if you press me right now, I could pull out a whole Hannibal Lecter monologue. We were fascinated with that film, and the fascination came from being terrified by it, terrified, and then just turning that terror into
Arousal.
pure fascination.
I'll say-
Or that, but I think that's a common theme is people get scared by something and then they get fascinated by it.
I'm a
yeah.
clown.
Yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
clown.
You've told that. Yeah, exactly. You've talked about this before, where they traumatized you, and now you're a clown.
I'll get to that.
You were terrified by
I was terrified of the gay man in there, and then I became a gay
You
man.
got a skin suit in the closet, right? Yeah. It's all child
Hold
skin.
that theory because I have one of those,
All right,
just
all
not
right.
this one. This is my number 4, I guess.
Yeah.
4.
We've talked about it early episode of Not For Everyone podcast from Toby Hooper's Invaders from Mars.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
A lot to pick from in this movie, but the one that stands out the most to me is when he's slowly walking into that closet in the science lab and the teacher's over there eating something.
Yeah. Yep.
Turns around and there's full-blown giant bullfrog legs coming out, and she just kind of gutturally swallows it down in front of him.
I mean, there's parents being turned into fake parents in that movie.
Yes.
And
there's Krang monsters.
There's Krang monsters, and the fucking old lady eating the frog is still definitely the scariest.
100%.
So scary.
Even the whole sequence of him having to fucking get in the back of that van to follow the teacher. That movie is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's super scary. It's still scary.
And that's Toby Hooper's I'm gonna make a kids movie. Invaders from Mars.
One of the low key scary scenes. I forget what it is about it, but they're frying a steak, and there's something about the way he filmed this whole scene where it's
It's just right when the parents
yeah,
became the
and I don't know why that scene in particular is
it's
burned in my brain.
because you're why does he keep putting emphasis on the steak?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
in the steak?
Yeah.
Why does it keep showing me the steak? Yeah. I
good,
get it.
Good filmmaking.
So, look, I don't want to break the rules, but I got to talk about this movie as a whole, and there were particular scenes, and they're excellent particular scenes.
All right, if you're going to do more than one in one go,
No, I'm doing one movie.
let's get to it.
And the 70s version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Ooh, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's the whole concept of they go to bed at night and then the plants would show the tendrils come out and they're all beautiful and pretty looking, and then those tendrils went into your nose and ate your body and turned you into a pod person. And I remember I had to go have my tonsils removed when I was 10 years old.
Okay.
And I watched this movie soon before this. I was 10. It was I was 9 or 10 when I saw this movie. And I remember specifically being terrified to go under sedation because I told my parents, no plants in my room. I don't want any plants in there because I'm afraid the plants were going to fucking crawl up my nose and pod person me. So yeah, I don't know if there's a particular scene of that because it happens a couple times in the movie, but that whole concept.
That's why you don't eat salads nowadays.
God damn right.
The last shot
Fuck that
with
roughage.
Donald Sutherland going, "Woo!" That fucked me up. I mean, you guys are naming some bangers because
The fucking dog, the old man's face
yeah,
on the dog.
Yeah. Yeah.
That movie's full of
Well, that
fucking
movie
horrifying shit.
is like one of the quintessential slow burn 70. Like it's not like it's a like what's the good version of a slog?
It's a real piece of cinema, and
Yes.
like it's not a
That's
yeah,
the
it's
good version of a slog.
What's
Yeah.
the good version of a slog?
a slow burn.
I guess, but I just feel
I
like
don't know.
it's so overused.
Yeah,
By you.
I feel like a slow burn could still be a slog.
that's fair.
The English Patient.
You're right that it's not an eventful film in the sense that there's not a slasher thing happening.
But when it
No,
delivers,
no,
that's
no,
the thing.
no,
It
no,
brings
no,
you
no.
down.
It
It
has
gets you
a-
comfortable. Like, okay, this is kind of.
It
like,
has an overwhelming fear of paranoia
Yeah.
and unease
Yeah.
throughout.
That's
the
true.
tension is so high in that movie that it doesn't need jump
Right.
scares and it has some.
But when it gives you the visuals,
It's
it
fucked
pays
up,
off that
right.
much more.
I love when Donald Sutherland's like looking out the window and he sees like there's like some kind of briefcase handoff.
Yeah.
And like and the thing is like it's super scary because you don't it's like what are they doing? And he's tracking their movements and stuff and it's got intrigue as well as it's all permeated by that dread as you
Totally.
said. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Great
a good
movie.
one. Good one.
that's the quintessential one there, y'all.
Let's just go back to me for a second.
Okay, let's go back to you for a second,
Let's
Bobby.
go back to me for a second because I want to bring up real quick, Austin. I know it's your turn and everything, but
These turns are very important.
But when you just said it's something about fear turns into interest or obsession even later in life.
Haka.
This is one of my very first movie-going memories. First 10 minutes or so, John Lithgow and his family are driving through the Northwest quadrant, as Deep State Rex would call it.
I'm making connections now. That
And
you're saying.
I know, it's
they're
all making
beautiful,
sense.
It's all making
beautiful
sense.
Pacific Northwest landscape. John Lithgow and his family. Ernie was the name of the dog, I think.
Sure, it wasn't Harry, but yeah.
They had a giant man-like beast creature with their car.
It's a Bobby. It's a big old Bobby out in the woods.
At this point, I'm like, for those of you at home, I'm just kind of peeking over the seats at the theater. I'm still intrigued by it, but there's just this big wad of giant fur in the middle of this beautiful Pacific Northwest landscape, and this family's like, what is going on right now? And in true 1980s family comedy fashion, they're like, let's put it on the roof of the car and take it home.
Let's drive it home. I'm John Lithgow.
What a wacky premise for a family comedy.
So wait, what scared you?
Oh yeah.
They're driving along the road in this scene, and they're talking about the fucking big furry monster on the roof, and it goes, oh, and it like slams its giant Sasquatch arms as the car's driving onto the windshield and makes this grunty scream with a very, very amazing makeup effects. This does not look like a costume. This looks like a real Bigfoot creature. And it was from that point on, that entire movie, I sat under my parents' seat.
Yeah.
And I was horrified of the Sasquatch for the longest time, and now I can't. Now I just can't quit him.
So when did you actually go back and like watch and love Bigfoot?
Slowly but surely, if there was like a Bigfoot documentary on or something
Okay.
like that, I would start watching those. And then like even a few years later after that experience, maybe when I was like in elementary school, I went back and watched Harry and I was fine watching it. But that first time I saw it, I was like 3 years old.
And you're
Giant
like,
monkey
"Fuck
man screaming in your
this
face on a
universe.
50-foot screen.
It all makes sense now.
It does.
There was something missing in our friendship that I just didn't understand you in some capacity, and now I understand you. I
Well,
understand the complete Bobby.
Let's
now.
understand everyone a little bit more because this is a guest pick for childhood trauma. We're be covering The Hidden tonight from
Yeah.
1987.
Yes.
Now, there's a particular scene in this movie, Austin. So why don't you set us up?
So, yes, I recommended the movie The Hidden because it
Why
was
did you recommend it to us?
Childhood Trauma Month.
Kinder trauma.
Childhood trauma recap. And
more of a
this
bird.
movie is probably the single most traumatizing movie I had seen as a child. And I'll go ahead and explain the scene. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but we're going to get to it in 5 seconds anyway, so it doesn't really matter. A man goes on a Grand Theft Auto caliber rampage. He gets shot by the cops. He's in a
Repeatedly.
coma, in a bed next to another man. The man who was shot up opens his eyes abruptly when no one's around, leans over to the man who's also in a coma, opens his mouth, and then a massive slug booger alien creature crawls out of his mouth into the other man's mouth.
Yep.
A cop and an FBI agent race for answers after law-abiding people suddenly become violent criminals. Boogermouth.
I want this car.
Jonathan Miller would never do anything to break the law.
I need the keys. Thank you. Bye.
He is a very fine, very honest gentleman.
Something strange is happening to some ordinary people.
Yeah, that's Jack. Real nice man. What'd he do, rob a bank?
He's a law-abiding taxpayer minding his own business. Killed 12 people, wounded 23 more, stole 6 cars, most of them Ferraris. If anybody deserves to go that way, it sure in the hell's him. I've worked homicide for 13 years. I have never seen anything like this. You trying to tell me that she's part of this?
Step out of the car slow.
I want answers, and I want them now.
Explanation won't help you.
I want to know why it takes 15 shots to take down some sold-out stripper. Why 3 law-abiding citizens all of a sudden go crazy and start killing people. We talking spacemen here?
Something gets in his way, he kills it. Finds a body, gets inside, uses it to move around.
Try for one on the tire. If you think this is easy, why don't you try it?
Bye.
I guess a career in the police didn't really prepare you for this, did it?
The hidden.
You think it's over now? You're wrong.
1987's The Hidden.
The Hidden.
This was Austin's recommendation.
Yes.
Austin, pick up where you left out with the movie from 1987 called Boogermouth.
Well, I want to tell a quick story. I've told this story in the past, so forgive me if you've heard this one before. So I'll shorten it. But we had in the 80s, before streaming, before infinite access to everything, you had to get your movies the old-fashioned way, which is that you had a friend named Barbara. You'd give her a bunch of blank VHS tapes, and she would just record late-night HBO
record the
for
world for
8
you.
hours overnight. She would have no idea what's on them. We would have no idea what's on them. It was a journey of discovery. And of this journey of discovery was the movie The Hidden. And as mentioned, my parents would let me just watch any fucking thing that was on those tapes.
Any old thing.
Any old thing. So we watched this movie. And it scarred me as a child, but it's a fucking fantastic movie. When they were talking about childhood trauma, I was not only like, 1, this scared the crap out of me, but 2, I can't think of a more perfect NFE movie than The Hidden.
Now, Adam and I hadn't even seen this.
I didn't even know this movie existed, man.
It is, it's on a current Mount Rushmore for me.
Yeah.
Of the day, Rushmore of the day. It's the most excited I've been about seeing a movie in a very long time.
If you are a listener of the Not For Everyone podcast and you have not seen this movie, do not run to your television. I think it's on Shudder.
It's on it was on Amazon. You got to rent
It's
it.
on
It's
Amazon.
worth
Okay.
the rent.
$3.
Worth the $3.
If you don't like it, I'll send you $3.
If you don't like it, I will
like
come
it.
to your house and punch you in the face.
You will like it.
Adam, do me a favor. Tell me a little bit about the cast, crew, and director.
So the director, he made Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
What's his name?
Jack Shoulder. Jack Shoulder, God. He made, he made Friday the 13th. I mean, Nightmare on. He made Freddy Part 2. He made something called Alone in the Dark.
It's a great movie.
Is it?
Yeah,
Never
it's
seen
really
it.
awesome.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
He made a Vietnam War story TV show. He made what else did he make of
He made a movie with Kiefer Sutherland and Lou Diamond Phillips called Renegades. I don't know. The thing is, okay, he made Nightmare on Elm Street 2, which is, personally, I love that movie.
Me too.
It's a big old gay Freddy movie.
He made Wishmaster 2.
Big old gay.
But most important, this is the crown jewel of his cinematic career. And apparently this movie tested really, really well. It reviewed really well. Everyone loved it. And it just kind of fizzled at the box office for some reason. But they all thought it was going to be a massive fucking hit.
Did this one get kind of a rediscovery on VHS?
It's a huge cult classic because it's legitimately an amazing film.
Yes.
It's legitimately
Like,
an
full
amazing
stop,
film.
No qualifications. Not even like, oh, if you're into cult cinema, you might. No, it's just a great movie.
It's a fucking action pack. This is what you want from an 80s movie. This is like an 80s action sci-fi flick that is more action than sci-fi,
Yeah.
but is just so badass.
I think we've been vague long enough about this one.
Sure.
Again, if you haven't seen it, it is one where I just say it deserves more attention right now than listening to this.
Yeah.
So turn this shit off and go watch The Hidden.
Go watch a fucking Hidden, y'all.
Now, that sounded like we're done here, but we're just getting started. Adam, what is 1987's The Hidden about?
It's about this guy. He's played by Chris Mulkey. You might recognize him from Twin Peaks and other shit. A lot of Twin Peaks people in this movie.
Is this a prequel to Twin Peaks?
Foreshadowing, yes, it is.
Yes.
So he's in a bank that's like showing the security black and white footage, and he's just walking through there. And he takes a shotgun. He just starts Ramboing motherfuckers, just shotgun blasting anybody he wants. He grabs bags of money. He hops into a Ferrari. He starts playing some thrash metal at loud ass volumes, and he just starts hauling ass down sidewalks, through parks, through guys in wheelchairs. He runs them down viciously. He's laughing.
There was just one wheelchair guy.
Why are you shitting on my parade?
There's
Why
just-
are you
because
tapping the brakes?
Because you're
Why are you tapping the brakes, Bobby?
because you're being Mrs. Dash right
If
now.
you like the wheelchair murder in Death Race 2000, you will love the wheelchair murder in
The
the
Hidden.
wheelchair murder in The Hidden.
The
So-
Wheelchair Murder, that would be a good movie.
That is a good name for a movie. The Wheelchair Murder.
They even had, so essentially what you're watching is a Grand Theft Auto. You know, in Grand Theft Auto, you don't actually play the game Grand Theft Auto. You just drive around and murder people and run over people.
Right.
This is what you're watching happen. They even run through a pane of glass.
Yeah.
Like the full cheesy trope, and you're like, oh,
I think they invented that. I know,
No,
Adam.
Bobby.
I don't know if they did or not, but what I will say is it's fucking amazing.
It's amazing.
And then they ran through like a truck full of chickens.
Yeah.
That doesn't actually happen. So I guess what's my takeaway of this is it has a banger of an opening.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah,
Okay, so
there's
shoot-
like a 4-minute car chase or something, and it's like super rad. Like right out the gate, shotgun murders, run over people in a wheelchair, Ferrari wheel chase, cops. He's just blasting through cops.
and nonchalantly listening to heavy metal.
Just banging his head, happy as a clam, and there's people shooting at him. He gets shot like 1,800 times. He's all Michael Myers style. He wrecks the car. He gets out. The car explodes behind him, and they've already like just emptied rounds. He's just smiling as he's getting shot to hell. Don't care.
Yep.
Quite a hook.
Quite an intro, I gotta say. Quite an intro. Cut to hospital.
And as mentioned, scene that scared the living, ever-loving fuck out of me as a child. As I mentioned already, he's comatose for a moment, opens his eyes, leans over, and you're wondering, well, why the fuck did this guy take, infinity bullets to the chest? Well, it's because he's not a man. He's an alien.
He's a boogermouth.
And specifically, he is a boogermouth. And so, real quick, I want to just do a call back to our childhood trauma. This movie, when he leans over, he opens his mouth, and then the effect is amazing. This boogery slug creature goes from one person into another person, and I crawled up the wall. As I'm like a 6-year-old child, a 5-year-old child, or something.
I don't know what's creepier, the boogermouth or you crawling up a wall as a 6-year-old.
Oh, I mean, it scared
Like the lady from Exorcist 3.
Yes, it scared the ever-loving fuck out of me. I turned into a small demon child for a moment, and then
The Grudge.
I dubbed this movie because of that scene Boogermouth as a child. I was like, oh, I want to watch the movie with the Boogermouth because when you get frightened by something, you get a weird fascination with it. Mm-hmm. So we had the tape and it had The Hidden written on it, and we then ended up actually just eventually scratching it out and writing Boogermouth next to the title of it.
I like it's a perfectly fine name for the Hidden from 1987.
To be frank, I think it is a better title than The Hidden. But.
The Hidden doesn't really say much.
Well, that's I wanted to bring this up. It's this reveal that it's about aliens, and you find that out relatively quickly,
right?
And it's vague even in the titles of The Hidden. Like, what does that even mean? Okay, but apparently in France, it was called The Alien. And the people on IMDb were like, it ruins the entire half the plot of the movie, the title alone.
No, you learn this in the first 10 minutes of the film.
You learn in the first 10 minutes. Yeah.
Internet people.
And to be honest, I wonder if the fact that it was called The Hidden is what tanked it at the box office. Yeah. Like, what's this movie about? I don't know. It's some hidden thing. I don't know what the fuck.
Right. That guy from Dune's in it.
Yeah.
Because, that's like really one of two scenes in the whole movie that have Boogermouth in it.
So one thing about this film is that it never pumps the brakes.
No.
It starts off with, you're like, oh, well, how can it get any better than like, wow, they really, had an amazing opening with the, the Ferrari and like the heavy metal and like he's just running over people in wheelchairs, etc. And you're like, oh, well, clearly they're going to have like, a 30-minute like slow down exposition. Nope.
Every single scene in this movie is entertaining.
Yeah.
For various reasons. It's in the same way that fucking the original RoboCop is.
Yeah.
Like every scene, you're like, there's scenes you like better than others, but like, there's not one point where I'm like, all right, let's fucking get this going. Like what? Like
no, it doesn't slow down. It doesn't hold your hand. Even when like after the hospital, we're introduced to Agent Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks, loves a damn fine cup of coffee. But he comes and he's like, I'm chasing this guy. We got to find him. They're like, oh, we already caught him, you jerk. He's at the hospital. He's like, we got to get to him now. And so they go to the hospital. Boogermouth's already happened.
He's already inside George C. Scott.
He's already inside fake George C. Scott.
So the body of the other guy is now dead on the floor. And they're like, well, what happened to him? He's just on the floor. What we know that the FBI agent and the cops don't know is that he has transferred bodies, and the other guy, this guy who looks surprisingly like George C. Scott, has gotten up and left. And Kyle MacLachlan's character is like, all right, we now have to find this guy. Mm-hmm. And the cops are like, what the fuck are you talking about? We caught the bad guy. He's here dead on the floor. It's like, yeah. That's fine.
It's an accomplice. It's accomplice.
And this is what's so great about this movie is we're seeing it. We know they could have done.
We know it's Boogermouth.
They could have done a really boring version of this movie where they try to reveal it later.
Yeah,
right.
But instead, they just tell you up front. No, Boogermouth, body to body, and then we're now following George C. Scott around, and
he goes to a music store.
Yeah,
and he beats a man to death with a baseball bat in the music store.
Yeah, he starts stealing tapes, and the guy's like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then George C. Scott just like beats him to death.
And steals a boombox too.
Was Kyle MacLachlan's character as an alien, was that supposed to be some sort of big reveal?
Well, you just ruined it, so yeah.
Well, no, because like something's up with that character anyway.
Yeah.
And they treat it like it's a reveal, but if like Adam called it like 15 minutes in the movie, he's like, is he an alien too? And it's
but in 1987, maybe not.
People were dumber
I'll tell
back
you
then.
what the giveaway was, right? Like, okay, so the bug goes to the music store, he's stealing tapes. Beats the guy to death with a baseball bat, steals a boombox. He's walking down the street, blaring heavy metal on the boombox. He goes to a diner, and he's sitting there in the diner, and he has his boombox just blaring music while he's eating his food, right? And then he gets in his Ferrari, fast cars. So we meet Kyle MacLachlan. He's driving this super fast Porsche at high speeds with loud music playing. I'm like, oh, he's a space bug too.
Exactly.
He's a space bug too.
They give you all the hints you need right up front. And that's what's so brilliant about this movie. They remove all the exposition.
Uh-huh.
There's no exposition dump in this movie. There's like a one little tiny
There is, but it's for the characters and not for the audience.
It's for the dumb people in the back. They're like, if you didn't get what's going on, this is what's happening. But for everyone else, we're not gonna hold your hand. We're just gonna show you scenes of extreme violence, and you're gonna love it.
Mm-hmm. Party violence.
Party violence.
George C. Scott, he goes to record store, beats the guy to death. He goes to a diner. He's playing his music, his boombox, super loud in the diner. They're like, "Can you please turn that off?" He's like, "No," which is great. And then, a little foreshadowing. He sees a senator on the television.
Yeah, the political subplot too was like a nice
great.
touch.
It's
just kind of like you just veiled in the shadows.
Yeah, and so there. So there's we've talked about Kyle MacLachlan. We haven't talked about the other guy. He's a cop, and he's the human in the situation.
He's the real hard nose.
So he's kind of our
tough
anchor
as
point.
nails.
Well, who was he played by, Adam?
Michael Nori. Who the fuck is that guy? What's his name? I don't know.
That means seaweed in Japanese. So him and Michael Nori, and Michael Nori is like, "Hey, why is he doing this?" And Kyle MacLachlan has this really great speech where he's like, if he wants something, he takes it. If you get in his way, he'll kill you. And he just is like, basically the alien just wants pure pleasure, just wants human pleasure and wants to experience. He's like a Cenobite, but sloppy. And
it's like if Adam was a Cenobite.
Yeah, but see, if I was a Cenobite, like I'd still want to play my loud music and go fucking eat like toast and jam and bacon, and then like drive a Ferrari and go shoot people. In the Ferrari dealership.
Oh yeah, and one thing we didn't.
Well, hold on a second. I just want to reel it back. That line that Kyle MacLachlan says that you just mentioned. I think now is as good a time as any to mention the dialogue. A lot of the dialogue in this movie is really fucking B-movie silly nonsense.
Yeah.
But it's all performed like professional, straight-faced, I'm a fucking actor.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to the Wikipedia or the IMDb and you look at the cast, it's a bunch of really talented people like that you've seen in a ton of stuff.
Edo Ross.
Klug
Gallagher.
Yeah, it's like all these like famous dudes from a lot of movies, and so it's. Bobby made a great point when we were watching it, where like the plot to execution ratio is like off the charts. Like the plot is so fucking dumb, but the way they executed it is so fucking good. Top notch. Like alien transferring bodies could have been a shit show, could have been a terrible movie.
Yeah.
No, this is a fucking literally.
It's executed better than it deserves.
Yes, way better. One thing we didn't mention as a side point is like the George C. Scott character has terrible gastric distress. So the entire time he's like eating and drinking, he's like belching and farting, and which just adds a whole layer of beauty to this whole thing.
I feel like the more I watched it a second time last night, I feel like fucking Men in Black drew a lot from this movie.
Yeah,
the little tiny gun that Kyle MacLachlan has. Sarah McLachlan has.
Yeah.
And it's like a roach creature, and he's just a gross fat man.
Yeah.
Whose skin's falling off.
I mean, his skin one. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
What I mean?
I get what you're saying.
So cut to a Ferrari dealership.
Hell yeah.
A man is buying a Ferrari. He's a typical 80s douchebag kind of character. And the George C. Scott character walks up to the Ferrari as the dealer and the guy buying the car in the Ferrari, and he walks up and goes, "I want this car." And they're like, "Yeah, I'm sure you do, buddy."
You sound just like him.
Yeah. I've been practicing. And so they're like, "Yeah, okay, go fuck off." He's like, "I want the car." And he's like, well, this car is sold." And so they're like, "Hey, get security, take care of this bozo. We're gonna go inside and sign the deal." So a couple of quick notes. One is they get inside the car dealership, and they have a little toy Ferrari that he opens the trunk of the toy Ferrari, and it's just a bunch of cocaine.
That's fucking awesome.
And I'm like, man, this is I miss the 80s.
I was like, where did he get one of those?
I know. Why were we adults in the 80s? This seems so fun.
I know. This is the 80s were a different time and a wonderful time. Where you could have Coke in a toy Ferrari. It's great. But so the security guy comes out and he's like, "All right, hey man, can I talk to you?" And it gets him out of the car, and then he like shoves him away, and he's like, "All right, get the fuck out of here. I won't be as nice next time." And George C. Scott is like, kind of doesn't know what to make of it, gets up right next to him, pulls a gun out, and point blank puts the gun right up against his chest and just pulls the trigger.
Yeah, but he says,
so brutal.
First he says, "Are you looking for a broken nose or something?"
Yeah.
And he goes to swing at him.
Yeah.
The point is this, like, the point blank gunshot to the fucking dude in the chest is so hardcore. And there's a lot of those in this movie of like, He gets right up close and then starts shooting him.
Now, this is just the appetizer in the
Right,
in
again,
the car dealership scene.
We've already talked about man in a wheelchair getting run over. We've already talked about all this crazy shit. This is, it only escalates. That's the beauty of this movie. So, yeah, he shoots a guy in the chest and walks into the office. They're like, what the fuck are you doing? And bam, bam. He just blows
he's
them
going
away.
in there to get the car.
Yeah, he
He's
goes
going
in
there
to get the
car.
keys. Yeah.
And then they realize he's like holding that man that he just shot, like a puppet. And then throws him on the ground and just point blank shoots cocaine guy and the car dealership guy.
Just blows him
He's
away.
like, give me the keys. They give him the keys. He's like, bye.
He goes, No, he goes, thank you.
Yeah.
No, he says bye.
No, I love it because he got what he wanted. He got the keys to the car, and he's like, "Yep, I'm just gonna kill you for fun."
Yeah,
and like,
I'm a space bug. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Hedonistic space bugs. Oh, what a life to live.
So we cut back to Kyle MacLachlan and the cop, and they get a call, and they're like, "Oh, we got some dead bodies over here at the car dealership." And they're like, "Ah, shit!" And this is where we get like of the sprinkled in 30 seconds of exposition to this movie. Kyle MacLachlan, he essentially the cop is like, "Well, why do you want to catch this guy so bad?" And Kyle MacLachlan's like, "He killed my partner." And he killed my wife and daughter.
Well, he's at dinner with the cop's family,
Yeah.
which is worth noting because, it's just like, well, we have a similar lot in life trying to capture this guy.
Yeah. Let's go have dinner at my house, space bug.
We're basically buddy cops at this point, but you're just getting to know each other. You meet the wife and the kid.
Yeah. Wait, real quick before that, because this is my favorite scene in the movie. Is the bug walks into he goes to the place where the guy buying the Ferrari had a business card. He goes in and it looks like kind of an antique shop or whatever, but then you get in the back, it's an arms dealer.
Yes,
he clearly was an arms dealer.
It's a very Dick Miller scene without Dick Miller.
Yeah, but he turns the turntable on. And it starts playing folk music. It's like, I love sunshine, I love rainbows, doodle 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 doodle. And then he just angrily looks at the turntable and starts smashing it. He takes it, he throws it on the ground. He will not have any of that shit.
Whoever's idea it was to be like, let's make sure that they only like heavy metal.
They're real heavy metal fucking space.
I don't know if that was a grip or if that was the fucking writer director.
Right. But whoever did that was a great idea there. Nah, he wouldn't like folk music. He wants something fast. He wants some thrash.
And it reflects my opinions about folk music. Because I think we've agreed on this podcast before that folk music sucks.
And you're a boogermouth.
Yeah.
I like the plugged stuff.
I was kidding.
So then he goes to a titty bar, right?
Yes. So Kyle MacLachlan meets the family. We talked about that.
Is it?
That's not the fun part. The fun part is, he meets the family.
Well, the
daughter.
The daughter knows.
This is a little
That's
important.
all I was getting at.
Yeah. The daughter of the family knows something, and he even confirms this. He's like, your daughter is very special.
So far we have senseless violence, Boogermouth scenes, fucking wheelchair man getting hit by a car, point blank shootings, car chases, and then there's a little nugget of schmaltz that they drop in right there.
But the thing is, they've earned it. They
did.
It. In a typical,
and it pays off.
In a typical movie, this would have been the reverse.
Right.
They would be sprinkling in the action. But here it's like, no, the action is the main course, and we're going to give you a little bit of schmaltz just so that we can then put the pedal to the metal again.
Just so
and
you
they
don't...
didn't even take that. They didn't waste a lot of time on it either,
Yeah. It's like a 5-minute scene of schmaltz, and they're like, all right, back to the murder.
We'll get to what we're getting at here, but it's makes the movie better, I think. The schmaltz.
Oh, yeah. So then they get George C. Scott goes to a strip club.
This is where we meet our lady.
We meet a
Claudia
stripper.
Christian.
Yes, and she got Zardoz boots on. It was so hot.
Oof.
So she's dancing. She's having a good time. George C. Scott, he's contending with the fact that his body is breaking down because he is he's basically a zombie.
Old
he's dead.
drunk George C. Scott.
Yeah, he's dead, and like his the Boogermouth is like actually coming out of his arms at certain points.
Yeah, Boogermouth's making his way out of there.
So he kind of corners the stripper after the show in the back room, and she's all freaked out, but it doesn't matter. He has enough time to transfer into her body.
Well, Austin, you're doing the Adam thing where you're glazing over some fucking monumental moments in the movie.
That's fair.
Adam, let's go to you. Do you want to talk to me about Nasty Girl?
Oh
yeah, I'm sorry.
There's an amazing song, one of the best songs I've ever heard in a film soundtrack, called Nasty Girl by Mindy Lee. Can somebody sing it for me? Can somebody sing it for me? How about you just play it for us? Play it for the podcast, Bobby. Play it for the people listening at home.
So the song comes on. It's like, bad girl, nasty little girl. And we started adding our own lyrics to it because it's like, naughty little, nasty little girl. And we were like, stinky little, nasty little girl. And then it just sort of
crusty,
escalated.
filthy little girl.
Yeah, crusty little, filthy little girl. The song is like legitimately hilarious and catchy. But
it's catchy as fuck, y'all.
They just add like all these adjectives before the word nasty. And then they're like nasty little girl, so it's like you can kind of plug anything you want in front of it, and it's
it feels like one of those songs they wrote for someone like Salt and Pepper or Belleville DeVoe or one of those groups.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that they made this song, I don't know if Mindy Lee had any kind of career.
See, I want to go to a strip club where they play shit like that.
Yeah, no, you're right, dude.
I want synthy pop music about nasty girls.
Nasty little skanky little girls. So
we literally spent 30 minutes just like saying
mouthy little smelly little girls.
Exactly. Just like adding adjectives that were just disgusting in front of the word nasty little girl.
It's a fun road trip game.
Yeah, it's great.
Nasty little skanky cheesy girl. I love this movie so much. So they're in the strip club, and he's like, George C. Scott's like, I want her. And there's no nudity. Austin pointed this out to me. There's no nudity. However, Claudia Christian's wearing a very tight T-shirt, it doesn't lead a lot to the imagination.
She's nipping out.
Well, I was reading that
nipples are very visible.
Whoever was in charge of this crazy escapade,
and delectable.
That crew was more appreciative of her backside more so than her front side. So they made it a point to emphasize that.
But either way, she is smoking hot.
Yeah, and the pimp outside knows that. So the pimp starts accosting this woman in the street, saying, hey, I got a car. You like cars?
This is after she's been transferred.
After she's been transferred by the Boogermouth from George C. Scott.
Yep.
George C. Scott puts his Boogermouth seed into her.
Yep.
And she's now possessed by the Boogermouth alien as a seductive seductress.
And the cops are kind of catching up. So at this point, like, she just transferred. She left the thing as the cops are showing up. And the cops kind of flood into the strip club, but she's out. And as Bobby mentioned, there's guys like, want to see my car? And she's like, yeah, sure. And she's now getting fucked by the guy in the car. And you hear him like moaning and stuff. And then the moans turn into screams. As she murders him somehow with her vagina.
I think that Boogermouth, like,
he wanted to win in Rome. He had a very win in Rome mentality.
I love how he's like, you like cars? You want to see my car? Then it's like a Pinto.
Yeah, like she was about to get into a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And he's like, let's go look at my car. And then she goes on a fucking kill crazy rampage in the car because Kyle MacLachlan walks in and is like, this one here is who we're looking for now. Yeah. And the cop's like, what are you talking about, Mr. Twin Peaks?
Now, and the cop knows something's up.
This is, I pointed out when we all watched it, this is the scene that I was talking about where it's like exposition for the sake of the characters, not the audience. But it's so, like, not even Kyle MacLachlan, because he has very little to do with this scene as far as line delivery and shit. But what's the guy's name? The other cop? He's like finally
Michael Nouri.
What the fuck is going on? But it's so fucking, it's like best supporting actor
powerful.
shit.
It's powerful shit.
And you're like, why is this movie so incredible?
Why they act so
why does
well?
It check all the boxes. It's weird.
It
it's
turns
scary
out that when you get good
sense.
actors, your movie is better.
Yeah, your movie's actually good.
And again, this is all pretty subpar, silly B-movie dialogue the whole time, too.
So, can we go into the chase scene?
Yeah.
Car chase. Claudia Christian just fucked the dude to death.
Second car chase.
Yep. She's hauling ass in her Cadillac Pinto, shooting out backwards at people. They're shooting back at her. She's like, well, why'd you shoot the tires? And they start to shoot her tires. She climbs out of the car. She goes in a building. She goes to the top floor of the building, and she's waiting for him. And she starts shooting at him with machine guns and shit because she is loaded to the fucking teeth. Now, Michael Nouri and Kyle MacLachlan put 15 rounds of ammunition into this broad. And just like Michael Myers, she stands there taking it, shooting back. Doesn't even miss a beat. But she's all bloodied and mangled. And Kyle MacLachlan walks up. He's like, I know you get to leave that body soon. And I have this weird silver dildo in my hand that is going to be the magical gun to kill you. And now, in this point in the movie, we haven't really been pausing it. We've just been watching it. And I'm like, I didn't know where we were in the movie. But this felt like the dramatic climax of the film.
No.
Right? And then, on the top of the building, he's like, I'm not ready to come out. And it turns around, hot-ass Claudia Christian, jumps through a sign off the top of a building, just jumps off a fucking building.
Catwoman style.
Slow motion, hers falling down to the ground.
Into a truck of kitty litter.
Splat. There's no kitty litter. But what there is a little dog. A little dog that runs up.
A cute little dog.
To Claudia Christian, who she grabs and boogermouths.
Looks like Elliot's dog.
You love this dog so much in this movie.
The dog stuff, it like took this movie from amazing to like supreme.
Top tier
amazing, not just like hyperbolic horror sci-fi boner amazing.
Yeah.
The dog stuff is absolutely deserves its own side spin-off.
So to speak to the dog stuff,
Airbud Boogermouth.
Yes, we now have an evil dog in the equation. So
God, this
the
movie's
dog,
so fucking good.
Now I did find this very interesting. The dog was like, now that I think about it, the dog was owned by the police captain or like whoever, yeah.
Lieutenant's
and
dog.
so that's a little coincidental, but whatever. We'll
let these plot devices have their play.
The evil dog. Okay, so now we know that the Boogermouth is in the dog. So we now cut to the lieutenant. He's at home. He's kind of unwinding for the day. He's like making himself a drink. He goes to the refrigerator. He opens the refrigerator to get himself a midnight snack. And what happens? The dog bursts through the door with some super
dramatic flair
super
through
dog
through the window in the door.
It was like the window, yeah. It was like a little, like the slats. It like burst through the slats.
You know where Laurie Strode would hide in her house from
Michael Myers. It was like a John McClane stunt.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah. The dog did a John McClane stunt and banged this guy in his back so hard that he hit his head hit the fridge and he was out. He was out cold and bleeding. Like this dog had some power behind him.
Yeah. And frankly, this was the most unrealistic part of the movie, and I
was
I use that joke every time, but no, it's fantastic. The dog bursts through the window, bursts through the door, slams the guy in the back, knocks him out, and then of course Boogermouths the human, because he's not content to be a dog. He wants to be a human. He wants to get all the pleasures of humanity.
Yeah, humans can like play tape decks and they can drive fast cars.
You can't turn on Anthrax with those paws.
You cannot. So we've come to a point in the movie where Michael Nouri, the cop,
he's had it.
He's like, you know what? I don't trust you. He had one of his buddies do a background check and find out there is no Kyle MacLachlan FBI. Actually, there was, but he died. The Kyle MacLachlan FBI agent isn't even he's dead. You're an imposter. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, this is that scene I was just talking about.
This is the scene you were just talking about.
We were around this like 50 times, but he like slams his index finger on the desk so loud. He's like, tell me what's going on. And then it makes like this like, boo. And I was like, if you hit your index finger with the force to make that noise, you would literally have broken your index finger.
Not Michael Nouri's index finger.
But no, his is stiff as wood.
It was like a kick drum.
Yeah, it was hilarious. He's like, tell me what's going on. And poof.
And Kyle MacLachlan's like, Spaceman. And he's like, shit, Spaceman. I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. And he was accepting of it. Nori was like, fuck, it's the only thing that makes sense, you know? And he's still, like, threw Kyle MacLachlan in jail.
So the important plot point here is that Michael Nouri is like, oh, you're crazy and you're a murderer yourself. We're going to put you in jail. So it's setting up the next sequence of events, which, as mentioned, this movie just ratchets up. It doesn't go down. It never goes down. It only goes up. So now we're in a jail. Well, what happens? The lieutenant comes. He's armed to the gills. Starts basically. Forgive me if I'm skipping over anything, but as my memory is, he just comes in and he starts blasting his way through the jail.
Blows the fuck out of everybody.
Yeah.
And not.
As long as we don't skip over smelly little stinky little girls, we're good.
Yeah, fair enough. So he gets into the jail. He's blasting his way to the jail. He's trying to get to Kyle MacLachlan to like kind of kill him. who is in the jail cell?
Danny Trejo.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah.
He's like, hey man, you an alien or something? And they shoot Danny Trejo. I'm like, fucking Danny Trejo dies in this movie. I love it.
Yeah, it's so good.
Danny
And,
Trejo was actually in jail when they shot that.
He was
an
just there.
extra.
He was an extra. Like, I don't think I'd talk.
and he's armed with like also like a rocket launcher. By the way, he went into
A
like the
bazooka.
evidence room and like a bazooka or whatever. Michael Nouri now realizes that Kyle MacLachlan was telling the truth the whole time. Even if he had any doubt, like you'd need any more evidence than you already fucking saw. But whatever. He's like, all right, fine, you're right. I'm gonna unlock you out of the jail cell, and they're kind of shooting at the lieutenant together. Lieutenant pops around the corner with the bazooka, and he's like, bye. And Kyle MacLachlan just beams him point blank in the
Shoots
head,
him in the head
with his fucking thing, and it's like a great effect. It like really looks quite convincing of just like if you shot someone right point blank in the head. The bazooka turns to the side, blows a hole in the wall that they can escape, etc. And now
I want like the jailhouse playset of this fucking movie.
Yeah,
there's a dead Danny Trejo.
It's a dead Danny Trejo. The bricks explode off when you
with
click
your
the little
own Boogermouth
spring.
You can switch it between action figures. Dude, imagine they had like
I
a
would
whole.
buy that.
I know,
I would
right?
buy every single
Kyle
expansion.
MacLachlan has a little gold light bulb that protrudes out of his mouth.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. No, just kidding. Yeah. So
explain the whole movie.
so they so this is the thing. You think this is the climax of the movie?
Nope.
No way.
Nope.
No, sir. This is just
Boogermouth
getting started.
done Boogermouth to Edo Ross.
Yeah.
And went somewhere else.
So yeah, Boogermouth then he transferred into Edo Ross, right? Yeah. So
The guy with the nose from Red Heat.
So even with a bullet, to
Yes.
the brain, the Boogermouth is controlling this thing like those little worms that control the praying mantises. Have you ever seen that? That's fucked up and scary shit. Anyway, go Google that if you want to.
No, this is a real thing.
Yeah. Yeah, these little parasitic worms can get into praying mantises and control their bodies and eat stuff. But then when they leave the husk of the praying mantis just like falls over dead because it's not. It was.
Well, I would think so.
It's super scary, but that's what.
I like it when we go on nature tangents.
Yeah, it's great.
Nature time on NFB.
And now the stunning conclusion of
Yeah.
The third stunning climax.
Yeah,
of the Booger Man.
This movie is just a series of climaxes.
And yes, and one giant one at the end.
Yeah. So it transfers into Edo Ross, who was just one of the cops. Who was like, and
You're right. There's not any foreplay. It's all just coming. The whole movie is just coming.
There's no downtime in this movie.
We don't.
You're like, when are they going to talk
We don't
about
have
the boring
time to
parts? Like,
69.
there aren't any.
This is like one of those 4-hour erections they talk about in Viagra commercials. The hidden.
So to make a callback to earlier, now Edo Ross as the Boogermouth, he sees the senator on television. He's like, and the senator's like, I want to be president. And the Boogermouth's like, I want to be president. So now we have kind of our end game here.
Who's the senator's assistant?
Oh,
Lynn Shay.
Lynn Shay.
Shay.
There's so many people
looking
in this
as
movie.
hot as ever in this movie.
She is peak Lynn Shay in this movie.
Yeah.
So then we have the big, shocking, dramatic climax of they're at the hotel that the senator is going to be doing something at, and Edo Ross is the bug, and they're trying to get him in there, and so they're running around trying to kill the bug, but he's a cop.
And because Edo Ross is a cop, they like let him in, right? And then in hot pursuit are Kyle MacLachlan and Michael Nouri.
Yeah.
And so then there's a big shootout, more shootouts. But in the shootout, the Boogermouth kind of corners the senator and transfers into the senator.
The senator is now Boogermouth. So we get to the grand finale of the film.
So keep in mind, Kyle MacLachlan's little silver butt plug gun.
Yeah, he has a little silver butt plug
he's
gun.
got a butt plug
It
gun.
does not. It only can kill Boogermouth if Boogermouth's not inside of a body.
Yeah, you can shoot that at a regular human and it won't do anything.
They have the ability of intergalactic space travel, but they couldn't create a gun that penetrates human skin.
They can move from species via mouth, but they can't make a gun that shoots through the skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plot devices as they are.
You know what? I don't like this movie. Yeah, you're right. I think it's stupid.
So Michael Nouri, there's a scene where he's like unloading guns on Edo Ross, and then he runs out of bullets, and he just drops the gun and puts his hands up.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot. He gets shot more like fatally shot.
Yes. Yeah.
So Michael Nouri's out of the picture, but Kyle MacLachlan, there's a scene that we didn't talk about earlier in the movie.
Yeah.
where a cop walked into the police station with a flamethrower.
Very beginning of the movie, the guy's like, "Look at this flamethrower! Isn't this cool?"
It looks nothing like a real flamethrower.
I'm gonna put it in the evidence room,
It's
just so you know.
It's like 3 Coke bottles taped together and spray painted silver. I mean, that's what this
there's
thing
going
was.
to be a flamethrower in the evidence room.
And it's like back in my day, it was just zip guns.
Yeah, they say
Whereas,
that,
like,
don't they?
now it's flamethrowers because it's 1987,
And
bitch.
Adam was like, "That seems really suspicious." And it was like, "Yeah, that's Chekhov's flamethrower right there." Like,
Yeah.
See, I thought it was just showing a crime rampant city.
No, that they show a flamethrower at the beginning. They're going to use that flamethrower at the end.
wait, Bobby, you're telling me that when they show the flamethrower,
Well,
you
I
didn't
mean,
think that like at some point the flamethrower come back?
I mean, I didn't like involuntarily make that connection, but
Okay.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get why you would.
So the grand finale, the senator, who's now Boogermouth, is giving a speech. And they're like, "Senator, do you want to run for president?" And they're like, "Senator's not going to answer the question. He's not going to answer the question." And he stands up and says, "I want to be president." And everybody's like, "Yay, yay." And then we cut to Kyle MacLachlan running in the room. And there's Secret Service men everywhere. And he's holding the bag that you know has a flamethrower in it. And he's running. And they start shooting him. And it's like slow-mo. And he's getting shot fucking 10, 12, 50 times, and he's ripping the bag open, and he pulls the flamethrower out, and whoosh, starts fucking just
He just
flamethrowing
like
Boogermouth.
flamethrowers the senator, which imagine how traumatizing that would be. You just are watching a senator, and then he just lights up. Beautiful flame effect. It's great.
Well, the senator grabs a gun and starts shooting at him too.
Yeah,
like he didn't try to run.
The Charles Palantine taxi driver subplot was kind of weird, but I liked it.
Well, then when he gets flamed up, you see Boogermouth crawl out of the body, and somebody in the crowd's like, "Look, there's a Boogermouth!"
Yeah.
And then Kyle
Someone yelled
MacLachlan.
at
Yes, pretty conspicuously. Like they were like, "Look at that!" and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pointed and like
And
as
then-
the Boogermouth is coming out.
And then Kyle MacLachlan pulls out his magic dildo,
Yeah.
and blasts it. Boom! Death to Boogermouth.
Death to Boogermouth.
Death to Boogermouth. Now, you did skip over the part where he comes in with the flamethrower, and the cops are like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm with the FBI." Like, "What's in the bag?" He's like, "Security equipment."
Yeah. And then he
And
just
they like open the bag, and he just pushes them.
yeah,
in
he
the
just like
box.
pushes him over. Yeah.
Not very tight security in anywhere in this movie. I guess in the 80s, it was easy to flamethrow a senator and Boogermouth your way around town.
But our main
Well, he had the superhuman alien strength.
Yeah, that's
Like if
true.
it had been a normal person, they would have gotten him before they got in the center. But that was the payoff. Is like you saw the bad guy take all the hits, and now Kyle MacLachlan is sacrificing himself to get to the Boogermouth and flamethrow it and spectacularly dildo it to death.
Dildo it
Now,
to death.
did we talk about that our human character dies?
He gets
Yo,
shot.
wait, okay, so this is a beautiful the
Epilogue.
cherry on top of this whole movie. Do you want to take it out?
Let's go back to the schmaltz for a second.
This gets a little bit more schmaltz.
They put a little bit of schmaltz at the very end. It's
So
perfect.
we're in a hospital, and Michael Norrie is suffering. He's in pain. He threw his hands up to a guy that's a bug, and the bug shot him. And he's laying there dying in this hospital bed. His wife's crying. His kid's crying. Kyle MacLachlan crawls his way in, stumbles in, pushes the family out or something, puts his face close to the face of the dying, dead Michael Norrie, and opens his mouth. Now it's not boogers that fly out. It's a beautiful
beam from heaven.
It's a beautiful array of a beam from sparkly joy from Jesus' taint itself. And it flies from Kyle MacLachlan's mouth into
He just
Michael
vomits
Norrie's.
glitter into his
He just vomits glitter right into his like special effect glitter. And then he falls down. And then Michael Norrie's okay. He's alive. The family comes in. I love you, wife. I love you, daughter. Daughter looks at him. Daughter gives him the same look she gave Kyle MacLachlan earlier.
The daughter
When she knew he was an alien.
And then comes and embraces. The end.
So let me get this. Like Kyle MacLachlan's like soulless body just collapses on the floor.
Yeah.
And they're just fine with that.
Yeah, because Daddy came back to life. Even though, like,
they don't tend to Kyle MacLachlan. I don't care about that.
You know what, dude?
He's an alien. He's
I'll
probably
tell you
sleeping.
something. I'm just going to put this out there for any intergalactical listeners that we might have. If we're in like a madcap adventure, like, and we get in a gunfight, and I end up like getting mortally wounded, you are not allowed to take over my body and claim my family.
Oh, it's not up to you.
Yeah. I'm going to raise
They're going to
raise
do
your
whatever the
fucking
fuck they
kids.
want, man. I don't know what you think is happening.
I mean, it's just
We'll find him a really nice orphanage.
it's like done nice. It's a dark fucking. It's fucking dark, man.
It's the perfect cherry on top to a movie that just doesn't quit, and then it's like
it didn't need to do that, and it did it, and it was.
And I'm glad that they did.
And the little daughter is just like, I know, and the the alien is like, I know you know, and we're gonna keep it a secret, bitch. It's so good.
It's
so
5 out of 4 stars. I give it 7 out of 3 stars.
Oh, the movie is so good.
It's definitely a new favorite of mine. One thing I just want to bring up, and I think this, I don't want to make it sound too cynical, but it does reek of like, the cliche of the pitch meeting, like what's hot right now.
Yeah.
But they just you could just in that pitch meeting in my head, they just list off everything.
Yeah.
It's like killer dogs, buddy cop movies, alien fish out of water, slimy gore effects, chase scenes,
shotguns in banks,
violence,
flamethrowing a senator, all of it,
all that shit,
all of it. It all made the cut.
And it all works.
If you've listened to this whole episode and you haven't seen it, and the thing is, what we have described might be like fun and interesting to listen to, but go watch the movie. We are not spoiling it. Like, this movie has rewatch value.
Yeah, even if you know all this shit.
Yeah. It doesn't
you
get
got enough
old.
spoiler warnings before you got this far.
But it's not about spoilers. It's more just like this movie. It doesn't get old to watch a guy in a Ferrari run over a man in a wheelchair and then immediately
that will
murder
never,
a man in a record store and then go and kill a guy in a Ferrari shop that's got coke in it. Like, everything about this movie is so good.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a great one.
It's definitely worth the $3. Yeah, even if you've listened to our review, it's totally worth watching because it's so amazing and fantastic.
I mean, this is going to definitely be at least a yearly watch for me now.
Right.
That's pretty good.
For a movie we never heard of. Thank you for the trauma that you had as a child.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that trauma with us.
Trauma.
I love spewing my trauma all over y'all.
You know what helps me deal with my trauma is a nice warm cup of Fox & Sons coffee.
Not me. It gives me anxiety, but goddamn do I love the flavor.
FoxandSons.com, promo code NFE. That's Fox, the letter N, Sons.com. Adam, you want to make this?
Yeah, you probably won't get anxiety from it because you don't have mental problems like I do. But either way, if you like a good cup of Joe, I'd recommend Fox & Sons. All that other coffee. Drink Fox & Sons.
They got a dark roast and a new light roast. I like them both.
They're both coffee, and coffee is delicious, folks. If you ask for decaf, they'll slap you in the mouth. But that's okay. It might be coming soon. Fox & Sons. It's coffee for you and your children.
A nice way to save the Fox & Sons at FoxandSons.com, promo code NFE. This has been fun. Childhood trauma. We got a few more childhood traumas to discuss this Halloween season, which will likely go into Thanksgiving, which I'm fine with if everyone else is.
It's going forever.
Hell yeah.
All right. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at Not For Everyone Podcast.
Can I be a whore and plug mine?
You can follow me at VonArt13. What do you got to say, Austin?
Follow me at ham_made_art on TikTok and Instagram. Pretty please. I make weird art and you'll like it.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful art. It's weird. If you like it, I recommend you get really high and look at it.
That's what I'm going to do right now.
Nothing like a cartoon by Austin. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. That's a TikTok.
And that's the end of the episode because I can't listen to that anymore. Good night, everybody.